for me, man, I'd rather just see everything in the budget. I just don't like this business. I just think most people don't even watch the budget, but let alone have a look what's off budget. And I think Australians should be aware that our budget is going to be in deficit for the next 10 years, potentially. We got to borrow against that. And our budget, and we are also spending money off budget, like significant amounts of money. It's not like there's a small amount of money. It's on 100 billion.
It's up to about 100 billion, in the budget estimate.
Which we're going to borrow.
Correct. Well, that money is still borrowed. Yes, correct.
It's more borrowing.
Not in the it's called the underlying cash balance, which is the one that we all focus on. That's that $27 billion deficit for this current financial year that we're talking about.
You're going to affect interest rates, right, for the moment? I don't think so, but I think it's just a good context for us to understand. And I know, we all know that Dutton's going to do his reply tonight. You know, there is some talk about helping out in relation to excise tax or reduction or temporary reduction in excise tax on fuel, which I quite like the idea of it in that it could have an immediate benefit definitely to small businesses, but hopefully it could have a quick benefit, I should say, to inflation, because it may well reduce the cost of items.
Petrol has a high weighting in the inflation calculation, so it'll definitely kick the headline inflation lower, but a little bit like that electricity subsidy. The RBA will see that, and they can see that it ends in 12 months, and they'll say, "Oh, look, we won't take that into account," even though we consumers who spend money on petrol every week will think, "Thank God, I'm saving a bit of money on my my tank of petrol." Yeah,
so it could put a bit more money into people's pockets, consumers' pockets. And do you think that could be inflationary?
Like the income tax cuts,
probably not enough.
At the margin it is, but I think the RBA would look at it and think, well, no, it's not the sort of thing that's going to spook us.
Yeah.
The RBA have got much bigger fish to fry with what's happening with Trump tariffs, with what's happening, I suppose, in the actual inflation numbers that are coming out now, and they're nice and low. They've got bigger worries concerning their estimates about what's happening to the labour market. And don't forget, we've got this funny situation, we'll probably touch on this a bit later, where the most recent labour market numbers had a minus 53,000 for employment. Now, some people say that's just noise in the Bureau of Statistics, but if that's the start of the trend, if we get another negative next month, and who knows, we don't get the next labour force numbers for about another 2.5 weeks. But if they're another weak number, then wow, that really puts a curveball into that whole assessment that the labour market is tight, because it won't be. Okay, now I've got plenty of spare cash, because all it does is just give that initial bit of relief. That's great. I'm not downplaying it for 1 second, but it's not the sort of catalyst that makes people think, all of a sudden, my mortgage repayments are down big time. I'm going to go out and spend. I'm going to go to restaurants again. I'm going to book my overseas holiday. We're not in that space yet. So I think the consumer side of the economy is still where there's weakness. They're hankering, we consumers that is, are hankering for another rate cut. How soon we get that, of course, we can chat about a bit later. But for the here and now, we've also got this experience too, where wages growth, which did kick up last year, that might have fueled that better retail spending at the end of last year. Wages growth is now slowing. We had the tax cut, yes, on the 1st of July last year. The last quarter of last year was good. Where's this extra injection of money to allow us as consumers to go out and spend? It's just not there unless we get more rate cuts. And I think that's the $64 question.
So